think one of the most memorable aspects of being aware of the spirit world was when I was a kid, and I think I was about 7 or 8, and I remember it very clearly because my granddad was in hospital at the time and my mum had gone to visit him, and I was lying in bed and I couldn't sleep, and it was a really hot night and the window was open and I was listening to the alarm clock ticking away. I was trying to get to sleep, counting sheep in my head, doing all the normal things that you do when you're a kid, and all of a sudden I just heard this noise and I knew that it wasn't the clock, and it was footsteps, but not ordinary footsteps. They were clogs, and they were like the clogs that you would wear if you were working in a mill, that sort of thing, and they were obviously going back a very long time, but I didn't know what was going on, what I was hearing. They were just walking up and down the backyard. And I was living in Lancashire in my parents' house at the time, so factory workers and mill workers would have been very prevalent years ago. But I was very unaware of this, and I just heard these footsteps, and all of a sudden I just knew. I knew that it wasn't a person, a real living person walking out there. It was a ghost or a spirit, or whatever you wanted to call them, because I didn't know what they were called. I didn't know they were spirits at that time. I do now, I didn't then. So I got out of bed and I felt really dizzy, and I rushed out of my room and I just stood at the top of the stairs and I didn't know what to do. I could hear the telly. I knew my dad was down there, and I think I just screamed at one point or shouted "Dad," or I can't honestly remember that bit. I just know my dad coming up the stairs, and he stood in the room and he said, what's wrong? And I said, I can hear someone outside. And he stopped the alarm clock. And I could still hear them. My dad couldn't at that time, and he put the clock back on, and it was just one of the scariest moments that I have ever had. And it turned out in later years that I found out that my dad had actually heard the clogs, but at a different time. A few weeks later he was in the bathroom, and the skylight, the vent in the bathroom, was obviously where the noise was coming through, and my dad actually heard them. And he used to hear other things as well. He heard people calling his name and saying my name as well, but he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me for years and years and years until it all came out. And I lived in fear of things that were happening to me for a very long time. It depressed me. I just hadn't got a clue what it was. I thought my parents' house was haunted. And I thought, oh great, when I go to school and go to boarding school, which I attended a boarding school for years in Liverpool and then one in London, I thought, oh great, I'm going to school, I'll get away from all these weird stuff that's going on. But it didn't. I heard someone talking to me at school, and it was that depressed me, because I thought, I can't get away from it, I'm going bonkers. And if I'd only realised that it was just the spirit world trying to communicate with me to let me know that they were around, and that I was a medium and I had this natural ability. If I'd understood that, it would have been a whole lot simpler. But it wasn't until my dad died that I suddenly realised that there was something in it, that I wasn't going mad, and that it was the spirit world, because my mum gave me a ring of my dad's, and if I wore it at any particular time, or if I had it on for any length of time, I would start to pick up things. And it was just my dad's energy on the ring. That was why I was picking it up. At the time I didn't know that, but I was feeling his heart attack and how he died. And it was quite scary. I thought, what the hell is going on? So I went to see a medium, and the medium said to me, it's okay. You're a medium, you have this ability, you could be doing what I'm doing now. And she set up a development circle for me, which was amazing.